Emergency civilian broadcast. Frequency 91, 4 megahertz. Date, July 12, 2025. Time, 2 a.m. Subject code, Domestic 9, Canine Threat Response. This message is being transmitted to all citizens residing in the Northwest Cascadia Zone who currently have a registered pet dog within their household. If you're hearing this, stop what you're doing. Do not turn off your device. This is not a drill. This is not a hoax. This is the only chance we have to stop the spread. The initial incident was logged at 2:58 a.m. in the small logging town of Brookvale, nestled along the tree-choked hills of Oregon Route 19. Brookvale's population is under 500, a place where everyone waves. Everyone knows your dog's name. That's what made the call so strange. That's what made the dispatcher stay on the line longer than protocol allowed. The caller was Marla Jenkins, age 61, retired biology teacher, widowed, lived with her dog Bruno, a 12-year-old border collie mix with a limp in his left hind leg. He was famous in town for riding in the passenger seat of her pickup, head out the window, scarf around his neck. She'd raised Bruno since he was a puppy. He'd been by her side through grief, surgeries, the slow passing of seasons. He was more than a pet. He was her shadow. Marla called 911 at 3:03 a.m., her voice shaking. The dispatcher initially logged it as a welfare concern. The audio transcript reads as follows. Dispatcher, 911, what's your emergency? Marla, something's wrong with Bruno. Dispatcher, is he hurt? Marla, no, he's smiling at me. Dispatcher, ma'am? Marla, his mouth is open, but it's not right. It's like too wide. His eyes aren't blinking. He's just staring. I tried to touch him and he didn't move. Dispatcher, is he aggressive? Marla, no, that's the worst part. He's too still. He hasn't moved in half an hour. He's just smiling. She tried to take a photo. Her phone crashed. Hard reboot. Her microwave displayed the wrong time when she walked past it. 0066. When first responders arrived at 3:19 a.m., Bruno was gone. The back door was wide open. Marla was unresponsive, eyes locked on the empty living room floor, whispering, "He showed me someone else's face." She was hospitalized. Never spoke again. That was the first case. Since then, the Office of Paranormal Containment has tracked 34 confirmed canine anomalies throughout a 150-mile radius. Experts estimate the real number is far higher. Many dogs are no longer reported. Some households have gone completely dark. The behavior is consistent, identical, rehearsed. Symptoms escalate in 3 phases. Phase 1, stillness. Dogs begin standing motionless for long periods, usually late at night, facing corners, hallways, open windows, heads tilted slightly upward, ears twitch every few seconds, though no sound is present. Phase 2, the smile dogs begin to smile. Not in a playful, mouth-open way. This is deliberate, controlled. The lips retract back as far as the muscles allow. Teeth bared, not snarling, just showing. Eyes locked, unblinking. Owners report the smile remains unchanged through stimuli. Yelling, lights on off, music, physical movement, even tranquilizers. Phase 3, mimicry, reported in 7 cases. Dogs begin to replicate phrases. Not barks, not growls, words. In the voice of someone you know, or used to know. One man, Evan Delgado from Pine Hollow, stated that his Cocker Spaniel, Daisy, stood in the center of his kitchen and whispered in his mother's voice, "I waited long enough." His mother had died of cancer 6 years earlier. Other signs include pets refusing to eat or drink, smiling in total darkness, appearing in rooms silently, doors unlocking on their own, electronics resetting to unreadable timestamps. We intercepted a voicemail from a woman named Sarah Linton, who lived near Rainbridge Lake. It was recorded at 2:43 a.m., never sent, pulled from her cloud backup post-mortem. "I don't think it's Rufus anymore. He stood by my bed all night. His head touched the ceiling. His joints were bent wrong. He kept showing me all his teeth. When I asked him what he wanted, he said my old piano teacher's name. I haven't said that name out loud since I was 10. He knew it. He knew it like he'd been there." Sarah's house was found burned to the ground. The bathtub was still full of water. The ceiling fan was on. There was no sign of Rufus. We repeat, this is not normal animal behavior. Do not attempt to comfort the affected dogs. They are not scared. They are not in pain. They are pretending. They want to be trusted. They want you to lower your guard. That is when they get closest. That is when they learn. If your dog has begun staring for more than 10 minutes at a blank space, if its mouth is fixed open in a too wide smile, if it has stopped reacting to food, your voice, or sounds in the environment, do not stay in the same room. If possible, relocate to an attic, a crawl space, or a locked interior room without windows. Remain there until further instruction. Turn off all televisions. Place your phone in airplane mode. Unplug devices. And most importantly, do not answer its questions. 3 residents who did so have vanished. One elderly woman responded to the question, "Do you still dream of drowning?" She was found days later in her backyard well. Her hands had been gnawed. The path to the well was lined with dog prints, only they were inverted. Pads up, claws down, pattern discovery, eye recognition. In recent photos analyzed via AI-enhanced footage, the eyes of affected dogs are not consistent between frames. Their irises change shade and shape. One appears to contain a human reflection, even when the photo was taken with no one else in the room. Some eyes show static, similar to analog television noise. Others have displayed symbols, etched like letters or sigils across the whites. We do not know what they mean. We only know they are growing in number, and they are waiting. Confidential. Level 3 clearance required. Civilian transmission file, 42K903, B date, July 13th, 2025. Time, 3:16 a.m. Do not distribute outside secure frequencies. The Brookvale anomaly was only the beginning. By the time local authorities arrived at the 3rd reported household that night, the situation had escalated far beyond behavioral irregularities. The houses weren't just empty, they were wrong. One home in Millview had its floor warped upward, like pressure had built from beneath. The wallpaper had peeled in perfect strips. The owners were gone, but in the center of the living room was a single object, a collar, torn and stained, placed neatly in the center of a salt circle. Burned into the collar's plastic tag was a new word, listening. Surveillance drones sent to the site malfunctioned within 20 seconds. Internal temperatures spiked to 143 degrees Fahrenheit. Audio logs recovered from their black box devices recorded only a single word, repeated 13 times. I waited. I waited. I waited. What we initially believed to be an isolated form of parasitic mimicry has now evolved into something far more intelligent, tactical, purposeful. These are not instinctual intrusions. They are replications, but of what and from where remains unknown. Pattern breach, the transformation window. After approximately 24 hours from the onset of Phase 2, the smile, a rapid transformation begins. Witness statements from surviving civilians describe the change as liquid movement under skin. One resident, Caden Morales, barricaded himself in his attic after witnessing his terrier, Chip, collapse mid-hallway and begin twitching violently. Here is a direct quote from his emergency call, transcribed at 2:39 a.m. It's like his bones are rearranging from the inside. His legs are bending backward. His it's falling off in strips, but he doesn't bleed. He doesn't even whimper. He just looks at me like I'm the intruder. Caden survived. Chip did not. The body vanished before responders arrived. Sensory manipulation. Victims exposed for too long to these transformed canines report the following symptoms. Sudden nosebleeds when entering the same room. Ringing in the ears followed by high-pitched feedback localized in the skull. Perception of movement in peripheral vision, especially around mirrors. Involuntary muscle twitching when within 5 feet of the entity. Digital devices resetting to timestamps containing the number 66. For example, 6, 66, 12, 66. Most chilling, however, is the scent. A consistent, overwhelming odor of burnt sugar, plastic, and sulfur described by all survivors as clinging to clothing and walls even days after the incident. Case file, Nina. One of the most disturbing cases emerged from the town of Fall Creek. The Stenson family's 9-year-old daughter, Nina, went missing shortly after their golden retriever, Max, began exhibiting signs of stillness and smiling. Security footage inside the home captured this sequence. 3:01 a.m. Max sits at the bottom of the stairs, head tilted. 3:07 a.m. Nina descends the stairs, speaks softly to him. 3:08 a.m. Max opens his mouth. Audio becomes corrupted. 3:10 a.m. Nina kneels, puts her hand on Max's head. 3:12 a.m. Nina turns around, looks directly into the camera. Her eyes are wrong. They are not human. She speaks clearly, but her mouth does not move. She was already hollow. The footage ends with static. When responders arrived, the house was filled with a faint rhythmic hum, like a lullaby slowed to 1/4 speed. The family was gone. Only Nina's stuffed rabbit remained, its eyes removed and replaced with canine teeth. Speech events. Intelligent communication confirmed. We now have 12 confirmed speech incidents, all occurring during the Phase 3 stage. The entities appear to retain partial access to the host dog's memory, but also learn from the owners. Phrases recorded. I watched you through the glass before you even knew my name. It's nice here. I've been walking your halls for years. You were already mine when you first said good boy. Your nightmares taught me your voice. In one particularly disturbing case, a dachshund named Leo began reciting a deceased child's bedtime prayer. The child had died in 2011. The dog had only been adopted in 2022. Another whispered the phrase, "You blinked," while the owner attempted to avert their gaze. That owner is now catatonic. Warning to all households. If your dog has been staring at a specific corner of the room, smiles with teeth exposed, unnaturally wide, whispers phrases only you should know, appears in different locations despite doors being shut, remains completely motionless for more than 20 minutes, walks with unnatural joint movement, limbs bending incorrectly, do not approach, do not feed, do not speak, and above all, do not believe it. Even if it cries, even if it says your name, even if it begs to be let outside, it is not your dog. Last transmission from Emergency Channel 7. Time, 3:55 a.m. Transcription recovered from audio burst just before system failure. They're inside now, not just dogs. They're mimicking door creaks, floorboards, music boxes. My phone just rang, but it was my grandfather's voice. He died in '96. The smile, it's not just a warning, it's a signal. A mouth wide open to let something in, something that's been learning, something that's hungry. If you see the smile, you're already too late. Closure status, containment failure Brookvale, Pine Hollow, Millview, Fall Creek, Rainbridge Lake. Transmission towers in all 5 locations have gone dark. Emergency responders no longer report in. Pet registration systems have been hijacked. In File 42C, a firefighter, one of the last to speak, was heard saying, "We burned it alive. It didn't scream. It laughed." Final order. If your dog is smiling, lock the door, cover the mirrors. And whatever you do, do not look away.